Prabhuji by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
I don't need the stand. I'll just take this. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashakaya Chakshuranmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'm very happy and grateful to be amongst all of you, the young devotees of Sydney. I was asked by the organizers to speak on this topic, 4 types of Pralaya. May I know who has chosen this topic? Huh? Who chose? Hari. May I know what prompted you to choose this, Prabhu? Just wanted to know the expectation so that I can try to serve you in that direction.
Very less information is available to me myself. And I thought that this will be more of a technical topic for all the youth to know about.
Okay.
Which things hard to use as the first word, others everything else.
Okay, great. Let me share what I know on this topic. And I must say, I felt very happy when I came here. The venue is great, exciting. When I saw so many young faces taking to spirituality, that encouraged me even more. Nowadays, people who are in their teens or maybe late teens, just came out of teens, early 20s, they are more energetic, adventurous, excited to do many things, and not sufficiently excited to practice spirituality. But when I saw so many young faces inspired to take the spiritual life, so that really helps me. I came to bhakti at your age only. Okay, let me just start. I will stand, use the board a little bit, so that we have a more interactive session, a dialogue more than a monologue, and I can see your faces also while standing. While sitting, you are not visible so much. I can also understand who is attentive and who is not attentive. Okay, let's begin. So 4 types of pralaya. Pralaya or devastation. Okay, we need a better pen. Pralaya means devastation or destruction. Before talking about destruction, we need to talk about creation. Something has to be created before it is destroyed, right? So we need to talk about the process of creation. Creation, in Sanskrit, it's Srishti. Srishti. This entire universe is created by the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. How many of you know Vishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean? Lord Vishnu lies on an ocean called causal ocean. Cause, Karana Samudra. The Lord lies on an ocean called causal ocean, and when he breathes out, millions of universes come out of the bodily pores of the Lord. So many millions of universes, Brahmandas. So initially, the universe comes out of, this is Mahavishnu. The universe comes out of Mahavishnu's body in the form of a small seed. And that is called Pradhana. And your science and many other books have a different way of explaining the process of creation. This is Bhagavatam's way of creation. I went from there on. I came from there on. I came from Indian Institute of Science. So it began with a small seed called Pradhana. Eventually, that Pradhana transformed into Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is the sum total of all the ingredients of the universe. And that Mahat Tattva eventually transformed into, this is Pradhana, this is Mahat Tattva, into Ahankara or ego. And that ego has three modes. Mode of goodness, technically called Sattva Guna. Then mode of passion, called Rajoguna. Then mode of ignorance, called Tamoguna. So ego, which is generally the false ego here, that is represented in three modes, and in these three modes, ego gives rise to multiple elements. In Tamoguna, ego gives rise to different elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then in Rajoguna, the ego gives rise to intelligence and senses and many other such elements. In Sattva-guna, or mode of goodness, ego generates elements like mind and so many devatas, gods. So these are various elements of the universe, and when the universe is fully formed, it's just a combination of all these elements, right? So there is Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean, and from him this seed sprouts. So for you to understand it more clearly, you're able to see, you can come, there are some chairs here, there. So for example, you have a plant. First you plant a small seed, and that seed sprouts into a small plant with just 2 leaves, and it eventually grows into two more leaves, and then big branches and twigs and flowers and fruits and big tree, right? Similarly, the universe also initially began like a small seed, and that sprouted into a big entity called Mahat Tattva, which is sum total of all ingredients. Just like this one little seed has all the branches and the leaves and the trunk and the twigs and the flowers and fruits of this tree. Initially it is only seed. Similarly, the universe also grows. So universe grows, first it's like a seed, and it becomes little bigger called Mahat Tattva, and it gets transformed by the passage of time. It gets transformed into ego, Ahankara, and ego in these three modes, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, gives rise to multiple elements. So at the end of this whole process, we have about 23 or 24 elements, and all these elements should combine together to form a universe. Is it clear so far? Is it too technical? Just like you want to make some food item. What's your favorite food item? Yes, Prabhu. What's your favorite food item? Tell me. Kheer. Okay. What's your name? Okay. Our Yatinji likes kheer. So what are the ingredients of kheer? Tell me. Huh? You know only to eat, or you can cook also.
Milk,
Okay, milk,
rice,
rice, sugar.
cinnamon,
Okay,
and cardamom.
okay. Ghee. Okay, fine. And you need fire also to cook, right? You need a vessel also cook. You need to cook. If you can cook, that's fine. So basically, you have so many ingredients. So when you go to the market, you may purchase some milk. You take some rice. You take some sugar. You take some ilachi. You take ghee. But all these ingredients were disconnected from each other initially. They are not mixed with each other. Now there is a person called cook. Maybe you or someone else. So the cook mixes all these ingredients. First, he boils milk. Then maybe he may add some rice. Then he may add some sugar. And then he may add some ghee. And he may put some dry fruits also for extra flavor. So a cook processes all these ingredients at different temperatures. And you cannot put as much cinnamon as you put milk. Right? So you take 1 liter milk. So can you take one kilo of cinnamon or 1 kilo of what is that, cardamom, or 1 kilo of ghee? So you put little bit of one ingredient, you put more of another ingredient. So similarly, the universe also is formed by a combination of earth, water, fire, air, ether. In the beginning of creation, all these elements are disconnected from each other. Just like before you made the kheer, all this milk, sugar, rice are disconnected from each other. They are independently existing. Similarly, before the formation of the universe, all the individual ingredients of the universe in the form of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, senses, the living beings, all of them are independently existing. They are not connected to each other. Now, you made one milk sweet. Anything else that we can make from these ingredients? You cook rice separately. In rice also you may put some pulihora, then you make fried rice, biryani, what else? There are hundreds of flavors of rice you can make. Similarly, with sugar you can make many other sweets. With milk you can make many other sweets, or you can make tea, coffee, something like that. So all these ingredients are used to make multiple things. For a meal you cannot have only sweet rice. You cannot have only kheer. We need to have some 4, 5, 6 items, isn't it? Similarly, in this universe also, there are multiple things that are supposed to be formed. Initially, there are planetary systems. There are 14 planetary systems. You want names? Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swarloka, Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. And bottom, there are different other lower planetary systems like Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Talatala, Patala. There are 14 planetary systems. Just like in a building, you have 14 floors. You go to a school building. The school building has 14 floors. The ground floor has the administrative office. First floor may have some library. Then third floor onwards, classrooms may start. Okay, the third floor is meant for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 students. Then fourth floor is meant for year 2, year 4, year 5 students. Like that, the 10th floor is meant for 10th grade students. So like that, different floors of the building, school building, are utilized by students or teachers of different categories. Similarly, in this world also, 14 planetary systems are there. Each planetary system is meant for the inhabitation of different kinds of living entities. The earthly plane is meant for people who are human beings and some animals. And the lower planets, they are meant for some demoniac people, snakes, and many other lower species. Some lower species exist on the earthly plane also, but the lower planets are primarily inhabited by people who are lower in their consciousness. And the upper planetary systems are inhabited by people who are in Sattva-guna, who are in mode of goodness. They are more evolved in their consciousness, like the Devatas, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Yakshas, all these great personalities. And the very top planetary systems like Tapoloka, Satyaloka, they are inhabited by people who are very, very evolved in their consciousness, like great sages. Lord Brahma himself stays there. So 14 planetary systems are created, but all these are created by these ingredients only, right? So the ingredients for the creation of all these 14 planetary systems are earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, ego, senses, and all. So at this stage of creation, all these are disconnected from each other. Just like at this stage of cooking, all these ingredients are disconnected from each other. Cook brings them together. Similarly, the Lord brings all these elements together in the form of this universe. When we discussed about one Vishnu, right? One Mahavishnu. His Mahavishnu, from his bodily pores, millions of universes come out. This is the formation of one universe. And once the universe is formed like this, by a combination of all these elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, that Mahavishnu expands himself into the universe and enters the universe, and he fills the universe with his perspiration. And that perspiration becomes the Garbhodaka ocean. Garbhodaka ocean. And he lies down there. And that form of the Lord is called Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. You're getting too much? You are able to follow? This is Mahavishnu, also called Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, and this is the causal ocean. And this is Garbhodaka ocean, and on top of it, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu stays. And from the navel of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, a lotus sprouts. And on the lotus, Lord Brahma, the four-headed Brahma, takes birth. And this Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu empowers this Brahma to divide this universal lotus into 14 parts and form the 14 planetary systems using these ingredients, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So with this earth, water, fire, air, ether, this universe is formed. And with those very elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, all the 14 planetary systems are formed. And the formation of the universe is done by Mahavishnu himself, Vishnu himself. And the formation of the 14 planetary systems and the bodies of different species of living entities in those 14 planetary systems are done by Brahma. Is it clear? So the creation done by, we said creation, right? Creation is of two types. One is primary, second is secondary. Primary creation is also called Sarga. Secondary creation is called Visarga. So primary creation is done by Vishnu, secondary creation is done by Brahma. Clear? So two types of creation. The primary creation done by Vishnu is called Sarga, which is basically the formation of the universe and all the ingredients for the formation of the universe. And Lord Brahma does the secondary creation or Visarga. He creates the 14 planetary systems inside the universe. And he also creates the bodies of different living beings inside the universe. Is it clear? That is called Visarga. Before we discuss destruction, we need to discuss creation. Any questions so far? Yes, sir. I'll offer this to you. Yes, sir.
Very nicely explained. All these elements which you explained come before Lord Brahma.
Yes, they come before Lord Brahma. Brahma has not yet taken birth, but the elements manifested before only.
And the second thing is, all the 14 planetary systems, someone was saying happens within the lotus stem. Is that correct?
Yeah. See, lotus, this is universal lotus. That stem is divided into 14 parts. It happens subtly. It's not like a gross lotus, which is like 10 billion miles wide. Not like that. It's a subtle lotus that is divided into 14 planetary systems for the inhabitation of different types of living entities. Let me tell you one more thing. When Mahavishnu originates all these universes, this process is followed by multiple universes. I spoke about one universe. There are multiple pradhanas. There are millions of pradhanas, millions of mahatattwas, millions of egos and all. This whole process is carried out for every single universe. simultaneously. When the Lord glances on his own energy, material energy or pradhana, he infuses this pradhana, the seed form of universe, with the jivas. Just like a father impregnates a mother, similarly the Lord also impregnates pradhana with different types of living entities, jivas. Who are these jivas? They are his own amshas, his own parts. And these jivas could not get liberated in the previous creation. Creation is happening multiple times. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. The creation of this universe happens multiple times, and those jivas who could not get liberated in the previous universe, previous creation, they are given an opportunity to again take forms as human beings and different living entities according to their karma, and enter these universes. Is it clear? So far, it's getting too technical. So far, it's clear, right? Any doubts? Yes, Prabhu.
Normally, mind we tend to think it's very passionate.
Hmm.
But here we see mind is actually formed from good stuff.
Okay, I will come to this. Let's focus on the creation now. The qualities of mind and intelligence and all we will discuss at the end. That may kind of distract our discussion in a different direction. I'll come to that definitely. Yes, Mathis.
Prabhu, as you said, the simultaneously happening,
Hmm.
is it happening at the same structure? Like every universe going through the first golden age, and then the
We don't know much about the yugas. Golden age means the yugas, right? Krita Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta. That all we'll discuss later. And we don't have much information about that also. We know about our universe. We don't know much about the later other universes. Some universes are very big. Their Brahmas have 10 heads, 20 heads, 30 heads, 100 heads, 1000 heads, 1 million head. So the bigger universes are there. How the time functions there and all, it's not discussed so much in our scriptures. There can be yugas. Definitely, we can safely infer and assume that there are yugas, golden age there also. Any other question about the process of creation?
I think just on the last point, about floating planetary system, it means other universes might have more planetary systems than we have.
Maybe, we don't know.
So it's not 14 fixed for all the universe, as you said.
In our universe, it's 14, that is clear. Other universes also, there can be 14 only. Maybe bigger 14 planet systems. Very wider 14. Or it could be 28, we don't know. I don't know at least.
And another question would be about soul is part of Supreme Lord itself, right? Like each of us soul. Then why is the need for the soul to get liberated? Because if it's part of the Supreme Lord itself, I understand all the other processes, but it's like, why is there a need for soul to get liberated? Why it is falling into the ground itself? Then it's a part of Lord Supreme Lord, so he could have not.
The need for the soul to get liberated is as follows. What is liberation? Liberation is basically reinstating oneself in one's original position. That is liberation. When the soul gets distracted, when the soul takes more interest in material activities, lording over this nature, considering oneself God, boss, considering oneself the master, controller, proprietor, enjoyer. So when the soul has this kind of mentality, someone has to relieve the soul from that mentality. And that relief is liberation. To relieve that soul from that conditioned mentality is liberation. To reinstate the soul back in the original mentality as a servant of God, as a lover of God. So that is the process of liberation. Somebody is bound. The natural state of the person is to freely move like this. If somebody bound me with this pillar, so you come and release my bondage, release my ropes. That is called liberation. That's all. That we are not sure. How the soul got distracted, I don't know. Anadi, karma phale, means since time immemorial, for several hundreds and thousands of lifetimes, this distraction is continuing and we ended up in this one species. So there is no, we cannot trace it back. The point of distraction, t equal to 0, we may not be able to trace it back.
Sorry, not about point of distraction as such. Why is it starting in the beginning itself? Like, let's say
Hmm. This is a very popular question, frequently unanswered question in ISKCON at least. Okay. Anyways, anything in the process of creation so far? Okay, the jivas are induced into this universe according to their previous karma. Hmm? And these jivas take up different positions in these 14 planetary systems in different species. Some take birth as human beings, some take birth as animals, some take birth as devatas, some take birth as snakes. So according to their karma, according to their conditioning. So all the bodies of these different living beings are created by Brahma in these 14 planetary systems. He positions them. Okay, first grade, first floor. Fourth grade, second floor. Administrative office, ground floor. So library, third floor. Then staff room, fourth floor. 10th grade, 10th floor. So like that he allocates all the living entities. Clear? So this is the process of creation. One is primary creation, second is secondary creation. All that I have spoken so far is only a prelude. Only a prelude. The main topic is destruction. I was asked by Prabhu to speak on destruction. There are 4 types of destructions. 4. Prabhu, I need a better pen. None of the pens are working.
Tested it, but I think you should hold it like this.
Okay, this is better. This seems to be the best. I need a.
You are the one who showed it that so I put the caps on.
Okay, let's wipe the cooking lila. Prabhu has made the kheer. Yeah. Okay, you keep it as it is. That's required. So Prabhu, there are 4 types of pralayas. Now our topic begins now. Whatever I spoke is only prelude. First is Prakritika Pralaya. You are okay with Sanskrit terminologies? You can manage? If you have any doubt, you can tell me. Prakritika Pralaya. Pralaya you can put everywhere. Prakritika Pralaya. You know what is Prakritika Pralaya? It's the elemental annihilation or complete annihilation or complete destruction. Means at the end of the lifetime of Brahma, when Brahma lives for 100 years, Brahma, who is born from the navel of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu on top of a lotus, he lives for 100 years. And when his 100 years lifespan is completed, it's exhausted, then there is a pralaya. Means entire universe goes back into Mahavishnu's body. It originated from Mahavishnu, it goes back into Mahavishnu's body. For example, you made a nice clay pot. Clay pot takes birth from clay, right? And you used it for some time. You used that earthen pot for fetching water and doing many other things. But somehow the pot was broken. And the broken pot was, it broke into multiple pieces. And what will happen to all the pieces? It will merge back into the earth element, right? Just like a broken earthen pot merges back into the element earth, bigger element earth, similarly, this entire universe merges back into Mahavishnu's body. And that merging back is called Prakritika Pralaya. Clear? That is called elemental annihilation. Or we will say it like this: complete annihilation, complete destruction at the end of Brahma's life. Then second is Naimittika Pralaya. Naimittika Pralaya. This is called partial annihilation. This happens at the end of day of Brahma's day. Now you see, somebody may go to office on the first day of his appointment. He just took up a job in a particular company. He goes to office. He was given a cabin, and he was also given some keys for his cupboards, and he was asked to take charge. So first day he will go and give an appointment letter to the HR. He has certain admission formalities, and eventually he will go to his cabin after 1 or 2 hours of admission formalities, and he will sit there. And by the end of the day, what does he do? he will switch off his laptop, he will switch off the lights and fans and AC, he will close all the cupboards and drawers, he will lock them, and he will go out. He will just swipe his card and go out. Next day morning he will again come back. Again he will swipe his card, open his cabin, open all the cupboards, switch on the laptop, switch on the screens, etc. Then he will start his working. So at the end of the day of a person in an office, he winds up everything, right? He will close all the files and all. That winding up is another pralaya, which is called partial pralaya, Naimittika pralaya. At the end of day of Brahma, these 14 planetary systems are there, right? Up to the 10th planetary system. Top 4 planetary systems, they are not merged generally. They are not destroyed. But up to the 10th planetary system, the lower 7 planetary systems plus upper 3, Bhurbhuva Swaha. So all these planetary systems are destroyed. They merge into whose body? Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu's body. So at the time of complete annihilation, at the end of Brahma's life, this entire universe merges into Mahavishnu's body. But the end of day of Brahma, all these lower planetary systems, they merge back into Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu's body. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is there within the universe only. Like that, there are so many universes, and in each universe there is Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, there is Brahma, etc. So when all these lower planetary systems merge into Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu's body, at the end of day of Brahma, it is called Naimittika Pralaya or partial annihilation. Is it clear? We discussed 2 types. Then third type of destruction or Pralaya is Nitya Pralaya. Nitya Pralaya means constant annihilation, constant destruction. When does it happen? At the end of Brahma's life, Prakritika Pralaya happens, complete annihilation. At the end of Brahma's day, partial annihilation happens, Naimittika Pralaya. Constant Pralaya happens at every moment. Every moment it is happening. Now, this Prabhu has taken this garland. Okay, can I take it back for 1 minute? So now you keep this garland. It's fresh with so many flowers. There are red flowers, green flowers, little pinkish white flowers, many things are there. You keep this garland like this here. You come and see tomorrow. By tomorrow it's faded slightly. You come and see day after tomorrow. It's faded even more. And after 10 days, when you see this garland, you may not even be able to differentiate between which is red flower, which is green flower also. Everything becomes brown. You touch it, so fragile, it will become powder, right? Now, after 10 days or whatever, 1 week, you can see that everything merges, everything is destroyed, everything fades, the freshness goes away. But at every moment, this transformation is happening. Now, you may not be able to perceive the changes that are happening to each of the flower in that garland. You may not be able to perceive the changes moment by moment, but at particular intervals you can perceive. After 2 hours, you see it's slightly faded, but you keep on looking at the flower constantly, like a camera, time-lapse camera. You are not even blinking your eyes. You can't see any change. You cannot see how material objects are being transformed moment by moment, second by second, or fraction of second by fraction of second. But over a period of time, we can see there is a transformation. For example, parents are seeing the children growing up. Every day they are seeing kids. They can't even perceive the growth of kids. But you are in Sydney for 1 year. You are in Sydney. After 1 year, you go back to your homes in India, and you may meet your parents or grandparents. The grandparents will see, oh, you have grown a little big. Last year when you came, you were like this. Now you have become this much. You see, they could see that difference in 1 year. So there is a constant growth that is happening at certain phase of a person's life. There is a constant deterioration that is happening. Now faces may look smooth because of youth, but after some time there are wrinkles on the face. Now the hair may look black because of young age. After some time hair may become greyish, whitish, pure white, and may fall completely. Without even shaving, there may be there is a bald head. So that way, every moment something is getting destroyed. Everything material is getting destroyed at every moment. That is called Nitya Pralaya or constant annihilation. Is it clear? We don't need to be convinced about it. You keep a fruit here, you keep an orange here, but tomorrow it will be decomposed, it is decayed. If you put some wax, it may stay for 3-4 days, but over a period of 5 days or 10 days, every fruit has to deteriorate. So that is called constant annihilation. Imperceptibly, everything is getting destroyed. Then fourth is Atyantika Pralaya. Atyantika Pralaya means ultimate annihilation. When it happens? It happens at the time where we give up our false ego. It's basically the destruction of false ego. At the death, we'll say call it death. Death of false ego. Fine. This does not happen to objects. Now, complete annihilation, complete destruction, Prakritika Pralaya happens to the entire universe. Naimitika Pralaya happens to some planetary systems within the universe. Nitya Pralaya happens to everything material, every material object. Imperceptibly, the ink in this pen is getting reduced. You keep on using, it will not write after some time. So that is Nitya Pralaya. When it say Atyantika Pralaya, it is pertaining to one individual person. Why are we living in these bodies? Because of false ego. What is false ego? What is ego? Can someone tell me what is ego? What do you mean by ego? Simple word. Ego, yes. Okay, greed is one symptom of ego. Anything else?
Material consciousness.
Okay, that's right. Anything more specific, more comprehensive? Ego. Ego. Basic definition of ego. I think all of you have no ego at all. They are all pure devotees. Yes, Mataji.
To accept the other's idea of things.
Yeah, that's a symptom of ego. Now I'm asking the definition of ego. We are all speaking about symptoms of ego. Greed is one symptom. Not accepting others' ideas is one symptom. Pride, arrogance, boasting about oneself, bragging about oneself, looking down upon others, disrespecting others, disregarding others, being very harsh in one's speech. All these are symptoms of ego. Someone who is egoistic shows all these symptoms. But what is the basic definition of ego? By the way, let me tell you, ego is not a negative word. Although it is used generally in a negative connotation, the word ego is inherently not a negative word. Now tell me, what is the meaning of ego? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. I am. That is ego. Means a sense of identity. Who am I? Ego. Ego is a sense of identity. Let me just. Identity. I. This is ego. Who am I? I am this. I am that. In this world, we have multiple identities. And we need to have identities. Actually, we have two types of identities. One identity is material. Second identity is spiritual. As some time back we were discussing, our spiritual identity is an amsha of Krishna. We are all children of God. So being children of God, I will say child of God. Being a child of God is our spiritual identity and a permanent identity. Nobody can obstruct that identity. Nobody can take away this identity from us. But material identities are subjected to change. Material identities can be man, woman. A man in one life can become a woman in the next life. A woman in this life can become a man in the next life. Therefore, this gender is temporary. Second, somebody may be engineer, somebody may be doctor. Now you are an employee of a particular company. After 3 years, you may change your company. Then your identity is, I am employed with so and so other company. So far I was in Infosys, now I went to Google. Later you may enter Apple. You keep on changing your companies, so you assume newer and newer identities. Now many of you are students. After some time, some of you can become teachers, some of you can become doctors, some of you can become actors, some of you can become YouTube influencers. Some of you can become life coaches. Nowadays, if you ask youth, what do you want to become? In our days, maybe 15, 20 years back, when some of us were asked, we would say we'll become engineer, we'll find a job in Google. So that those were the aspirations of youth. Now people say, I want to become life coach. Life has not yet begun, but they want to become life coach. I want to counsel people. I want to become an Instagrammer. I want to become a YouTuber. Uh, I I want to become a YouTube influencer. People should come to me. I have 100,000 followers, or 200,000 followers, or 10 million followers, so that people can come to me to advertise their brands. This is what I want to pursue. For that, I may make all kinds of funny videos and reels and post anywhere. So that's the career that many youngsters are also pursuing nowadays. So, anyways, that's another identity. So, like that, within one life, we can assume hundreds and thousands of identities, and we can relinquish those identities also. You relinquish an identity, take on new identities. So, that identity is ego. So, what is this false ego then? So, that ego has multiple shades. One is true ego, second is false ego. Right? True ego is that we are all children of God. This identity, there is no change. Whether we are men or women, or Indians or Australians or Americans, or human beings, or animals, or trees, or snakes, or birds, we are all children of God. In that identity, there is no change. Every jiva, every soul, every living being is a child of God. That's a true ego of every jiva, every living entity. No change in that identity. So this changes. Now when you say false ego, so the false ego refers to material identities, and they are also of two flavors. One is the temporary ego, temporary identity. All are temporary, but this temporary, okay, let me not put it this way, because false ego is basically temporary. Now, okay, let me put it this way. I'm just trying to get the right terminologies for you. This is permanent identity, permanent ego, and this is temporary ego. Is this clear? Spiritual identity is permanent identity, material identity is temporary identity. In the temporary identity, there is a temporary ego, there is a healthy ego, there is an unhealthy ego. Healthy or unhealthy. What is healthy ego? All of us should have a sense of identity. Saying that I am no one, just wandering like a mad person, that's not spiritual realization, that's not self-realization. So all of us need an identity. So I am daughter of so and so, I am son of so and so, I am an employee of so and so company, I am a student of so and so university, I am a teacher in so and so college. So we all need some identities. So everyone needs a material ego, a temporary ego, which is healthy, is very good. We all should have a sense of identity, even the temporary identity. The temporary identity also has a healthy part, which is correct. Now there is an unhealthy part of that identity. I am the student of Ohio State University in Columbus, and you are a student of some localist college in one corner of so and so country. So you take pride in your own college, and you look down upon people who may not be in such a prestigious educational institution. Then it is called unhealthy ego or false ego. Pride. So the symptoms of unhealthy ego are pride, okay, or a sense of superiority complex, SC, superiority complex. Now, you are employed in a small company, earning very meager amount of money in some company. Someone else is employee of a big company, maybe Apple or Telstra or what else, Google or something like that. They're employees of a big company. They're getting good package. Their package is like 10 times or 20 times bigger than you. Then you look at them, you feel envious, envy, or a sense of inferiority complex. I see. This is called false ego, right? This is called false ego or unhealthy ego. Ego means identity, a sense of identity. So there is spiritual identity which is permanent, there is material identity which is temporary. And the temporary identity or temporary ego has a healthy part and unhealthy part. Healthy part means you should have some identity, some designation in this world. You can't be like nobody in this world. So that is healthy part. You can be student, teacher, whatever. But if you overly become proud, you over-identify yourself with the designation, with a lower position, your low position, and then start feeling envious of other people or develop a sense of inferiority complex, that is another type of false ego. Inferiority complex, superiority complex. Both are symptoms of false ego. They make your life complex. Inferiority complex and superiority complex will make your life complex, right? So pride, envy, arrogance, harsh speech, disrespectful attitude, deceit, cheating, all these are symptoms of false ego. Got it? When that false ego is destroyed, you get ultimate annihilation, that is ultimate pralaya, the destruction of your false ego, not the true ego. True ego can never be destroyed. Whichever lifetime you may be, you are always a child of God. That can never be destroyed. But the destruction of false ego is called atyantika liberation, atyantika pralaya, or ultimate annihilation. And this is called, in other words, it is called mukti or liberation. Fine. These are the 4 types of pralaya. And this last pralaya, destruction of false ego, that happens to an individual entity. When you take to the process of bhakti yoga, by doing shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, padasevanam, when you take shelter of the process of devotional service, a spiritual path, and realize your spiritual identity as child of God, as a servant of God, as a lover of God, then you become liberated from all these spiritual, all these material identities, and that is called mukti or atyantika pralaya, or ultimate annihilation of false ego. It is the false ego that keeps us in this material world, makes us transmigrate from one species to another species, one planet to another planet. So to destroy all this stuff, you need to take shelter of bhakti. So it is bhakti that destroys your false ego and that takes you to this atyantika pralaya. It happens at the individual soul level. This is happening at the universe level. This is happening within the universe. This is happening to every individual material object. This is happening to our conception, our mentality, our identity. Is it clear so far? Before I take the question asked by some mind, right? You asked about mind? I'll take his question. But before that, anyone has any question on these 4 types of pralayas or destructions? Yes, sir.
When we say we are all child of the God, but I am the favorite child of the God. How does it? I am the favorite child of the God, and you are not. How does that ego actually? Where does it actually fall?
There's nothing like favorite child of God. You have some kids, Prabhu?
Yeah.
How many kids you have? Who is your favorite kid? Both. How can be both? Favorite kid is only one.
The one who has less money.
He's your favorite. Okay. This is false favoritism. Now you gave a practical answer from the financial perspective. Now you give a heartfelt answer. You tell me exactly whom do you love the most in both the kids? Both. Sure. Okay. Similarly, God has millions of children. He loves everybody. There's nothing like favorite kid. And the second answer that Prabhu gave, first he said both. Then he said one who is less financial, less salary, less demanding. Okay. So one who doesn't depend on you financially is favorite. or one who depends on you financially is favorite? Who? Oh, I didn't get you.
Who's less dependent? Who's less not asking for money?
Asking less money.
Oh, asking less money. If they ask more money, you are not favorite. Kids, you can note down what is father's mindset. Anyways, so although the father has multiple children, the father has equal amount of affection towards all the children. That's the first answer. But if a child is more capable of doing things, is in better consciousness, more disciplined, more well behaved, more self-sufficient, the father becomes more happy. But if the child becomes more mischievous, distracted, deviated, and indisciplined, then the father becomes more concerned about the child, isn't it? Similarly, all the living entities are children of God, and everybody, potentially they are lovers and servants of God, but those who are in that consciousness of being a servants of God are the Lord's favorite. But those who do not have that consciousness, spiritual consciousness, those who are not aware of their spiritual identities, those who are not acting on the plane of their spiritual identities, they are not objects of the Lord's grace in one sense. They are ultimately under the Lord's grace only, but the Lord is obliged to, not that He is eager to, He is obliged to punish them, obliged to cast them into lower species. It's a sense of obligation for the Lord, only to rectify the rebellious mentality. Just like when a child becomes mischievous, the father may pull the ear or may scold the child. Hey, don't do this. Not that the father doesn't love the child, but the child's mischievous activities are inducing the father to be little strict with the child. Same thing is that. Now when you say, I am the favorite child of God, when the child thinks, when the living entity thinks like that, that is misfortune. The Lord doesn't like that. The Lord, actually, evolved spiritualist sees that I must assist my father in reclaiming all these distracted children. Just like a good son of father tries to bring all the bad sons or distracted sons close to father's expectation, instead of thinking oneself to be superior to other kids. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunicheva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita that if you have Vidya, if you have spiritual education, you will have Vinaya, humility. Then Brahmana, Gavi means cow, Hastini means elephant, Shunicheva means dog, Swapakecha, dog eater. All these 5 categories of living beings, although they are different in their mindsets and mentalities, still a devotee considers all of them on an equal plane because he sees their spiritual equality behind their material differences. Physically, on the bodily plane, they are different from each other, but spiritually they are same. So a devotee sees like that. One who is a true lover of God. You know what is love of God? Anyone knows what is love of God? Tell me. Our aim of life is love of God, right? Loving God. Can anyone define what do you mean by love of God? Krishna Prema. Where do I write? Krishna Prema means love of God. L-O-G. Not your log. FX. Not that. Tell me, what is Krishna Prema? Simple question. Yes, Prabhu. Brahmacharis are sitting here. Yes, what is Krishna Prema? For me to answer your question on mind, you have to tell me what is Krishna Prema. Okay. Krishna Prema means to love Krishna. Simple answer. Okay. To love Krishna. Then, to love those who love Krishna means to love the lovers of Krishna. And also to love those who are trying to love Krishna. And also to love those whom Krishna loves. Getting it? So this is the complete definition of love of God. Loving God, loving those who love God, loving those who are trying to love God, and loving those whom God loves. Love Krishna. Loving those who love God means the pure devotees of the Lord. They are very evolved spiritualists, you love them. Then loving those who are trying to love God means those who are in the practice stage. They are not yet fully self-realized. They don't have complete love of God evolved, but they are trying to love God. They are practicing bhakti. Many of us fall in this category. We are not completely in pure love of God, where we just hear the name Krishna and we fall into ecstasy, tears in eyes and goosebumps on the hands. Not like that. So we are trying. We are doing our sadhana, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vagera. So that is the third category. And loving those whom God loves. Whom does God not love? Everybody is a child of God. So does God loves everybody. So this is complete definition of love of Godhead. So once you become a lover of God, once you become completely realized, self-realized, then you don't have any material discriminations. You don't discriminate between people as good or bad, or auspicious or inauspicious. You see the potential in everybody as lovers of God and respect them for their spiritual identities. You don't discriminate them externally, materially. You don't discriminate them based on their nationality, gender, financial status, education, or height, weight. You don't get into all those external factors, but you focus more on their spiritual identities, this permanent identity as lovers of God. So that is evolution, spiritual evolution. Is it clear? Okay. Shall I come to his question or any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
What happens, like the expansion? So we understand material things go back, but what about the expansion?
His expansion is unmanifest. The Lord always manifests and unmanifests his expansions. They are visible and invisible according to the need of the hour. Now, coming to mind, as this Prabhu asked, ego is the. Let me give another explanation of ego. Ego is a sense of identity, right? And in this material world, most people are in this temporary ego or material ego or false ego, right? False ego means you are identifying yourself with something which you are not. That is called false ego. In other words, that false ego is also called ignorance. Okay? Ignorance. Also called tamoguna or avidya. So, thus, ego is primarily in ignorance. To be egoistic basically means to be in ignorance. This is tamoguna. Under the umbrella of this false ego, tamoguna, basically everybody in this material world, in this material realm which is formed of all these elements, are under the umbrella of ignorance. They are ignorant of what? They are ignorant of their original identity as souls, as servants of God. That is ignorance. Under that shelter of ignorance or false ego or avidya, there are three modes: sattvagun, rajogun, tamogun. Sattvagun people are more clean, more knowledgeable, more detached, more truthful, honest. And rajogun people more ambitious, overexcited, adventurous, angry. And tamogani people are ignorant, lazy, confused, demotivated, discouraged. So that is tamogani people. But all these three gunas are under the shelter of tamogun only. They're flavors. It's like in India, if you go, there are trains. Some compartments in the train are AC compartments, and some are sleeper compartments. Some are general compartments. AC compartment is more. You traveled in Indian trains, anyone? AC compartments are more clean and comfortable. General compartments are terrible. You can't handle. And sleeper compartments are somewhere in the middle. Okay. But just because you are traveling in an AC compartment, will you reach the destination faster? All same. 100% sure. Similarly, just because you're in Sattvagun, that does not mean you are liberated. Sattvagun facilitates liberation, but Sattvagun is not liberation. Liberation means going beyond these three modes. Just because you're in Sattvagun, that does not mean you are so great. But it's better than this. AC compartment is better than general compartment and sleeper compartment, but you cannot reach destination faster. If the train is stuck, 4 hours delay, 5 hours delay, yes, AC compartment people also have to wait there. There is no other way. So now why I said this is, under this umbrella of ignorance, there are 3 gunas. In this, intelligence is a product of Rajogun and mind is a product of Sattvagun. That's your question right now. So mind is a product of Sattvagun. You know why? Oftentimes we blame our mind, but actually mind is very innocent. Mind is very like restless like a child, adventurous, inquisitive. Mind is very innocent like a small restless child. But intelligence has more active nature. Therefore, intelligence is product of passion and the innocent mind is a product of goodness. I'll give little more nuance to it. All of you should love God by understanding how God is great or by understanding how God is sweet and lovable. Which is more nourishing to you? Which kind of relationship with God is more relishable to you? You understand He's great, He's creator, He's maintainer, He's destroyer, He's this, He's that, He's master, He's controller, He's proprietor, He's enjoyer. You understand His position. You love God for His position. Or you love God despite whatever position He has. Or let me give a simpler question. You love Him for His good nature, for His friendship, for His love, for His affection towards you. That's first scenario. Second scenario is you love Him because He's the CEO of a company. He has so much money. He's very popular. He has 10 million followers on Instagram. Okay. That's the reason for your love. So which love is more pure? First or second? Clear, right? The second flavor of love is loaded with intelligence. The first flavor of love is filled with emotions of the mind. Mind is a storehouse of emotions, feelings, desires, thoughts. And intelligence is a storehouse of analysis, logic, reasoning. Rational. My intelligence is the rational faculty in us, mind is the emotional faculty in us. So emotional bonding nourishes your heart more, and connecting with people just based on your logic and reasoning may not keep the relationship as long as an emotional bonding, isn't it? You are asking another question or you are agreeing with this? I have not completed yet. Probably I don't want to get distracted now. So mind is a storehouse of emotions. That's why Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Buddha bhava samanvitaha. Don't understand me just with your intelligence. Develop an emotional bonding with me. So when you have a heart-to-heart connection, when two people have heart-to-heart connection, 1 and 2, that's a more sustainable relationship. But if they have brain-to-brain connection, right, so that's not a very sustainable relationship. Right? You intellectually understand how great they are. So which is more nourishing to you, heart-to-heart or brain-to-brain? So therefore intelligence is less important than mind, in the sense that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayyeva mana adhatsva vayi buddhim nivesha. You know this sloka? Mayyeva mana adhatsva means engage your mind in me by developing an emotional bonding with me. Mayi buddhim nivesha means if you cannot develop that emotional bonding with me, use your intelligence to understand who am I, at least. At least do that much. So become lovers of Krishna, become knowers of Krishna, which is better? Becoming lovers of Krishna is on the mental plane, is on the level of mind, heart. Knowers of Krishna is on the level of intelligence. So that is little lesser. Ultimately, we are all meant to engage our emotions in Krishna's service rather than just using our intelligence to intellectually, logically understand Krishna's position. Makes sense? You understand how mind is from Sattva-guna and intelligence is a product of Rajoguna. Intelligence has more active nature. Without that logic, we cannot accept it. However, in the material circles, mind is more distracted. Therefore, the active, rational intelligence should control the mind. Mind has emotions, mind has feelings, mind has desires, mind has thoughts. But mind has no ability to differentiate which is good feeling, which is bad feeling, which is positive thought, which is negative thought, which is useful feeling, which is harmful feeling. Mind has no ability to differentiate. Intelligence does that analysis part. Therefore, use your intelligence in the material realm to protect your mind from all distractions and harmful thoughts and negative feelings. But once you evolve in spiritual life, connect your mind with the Lord more than intelligence. Your intelligence goes behind. Your analytical ability goes behind. I have done sufficient analysis. I understood. With all my analytical abilities, I understood Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bahut ho gaya. Enough. Now let me love him. Let me serve him. Let me invest my emotions in him. Itimati rupakalpita vitrishna bhagavati sattvata pungave vibhumni. That's what Bhishma says. Let me invest my thoughts and feelings in the Lord. Not just intellectually understand Krishna's exalted position, but emotionally develop a relationship with Krishna, connection with Krishna. That's what is more desirable. Clear? Yes. I already took a couple of questions from you. Let me take others. Yes, Prabhu is waiting.
Prabhu, you very well explained about mind and will. My thoughts are mind is always greatly influenced or taken control by intelligence. They are
Yes.
not separate. So you are not actually free as a mind and keep intelligence separate. Because when I am active, when I am awake,
Basically, the soul.
intelligence is always playing the role.
Yes, yes. The soul has entered a body. Actually, the soul has entered a combination of two bodies. One is the gross visible body with eyes, hands, legs, etc. Second is the subtle body, which constitutes mind, intelligence, and ego. Right? There, mind, intelligence, and ego, as you said, functions as one unit. Now you just connected mind and intelligence. You mentioned the correlation or camaraderie or combination of mind and intelligence. But both of them are working to satisfy the ego. If my ego, my sense of identity says I'm a king, then the mind starts thinking, feeling, willing like a king. All the mind's thoughts and emotions are connected to that identity as a king. And all the intellectual analysis is in connection with that identity as a king. So all three work as one unit. But in this one unit, if you have to separate slightly, now pulao is served to you, biryani is served to you, or some pulao is served to you. So in that rice, flavored rice, you have some cashew, you have some kismis, you have some vegetables, you have some mustard seeds. Now all this is like one unit, you are just eating. But whenever a cashew comes in your morsel of food, you relish that morsel more, right? The cashew has a different identity also, has its own flavor. In paneer sabji, there are multiple things are there. Whenever the paneer piece comes, you are more excited with it, to bite it, right? You take out all paneer and serve only the gravy. You are not that excited, but some people like that also. Paneer both ho gaya, you can take it out. So anyways, they function as one unit, no doubt, but also they have their individual functionalities in this big unit, bigger unit as subtle body. Makes sense? Yes, you have a question?
Hare Krishna. This will be the last question.
Oh.
So, because I'm
Okay.
aware of your next schedule.
8:30 I have another
Yeah,
class.
so, considering the travel part of you have to take this as the last question.
Yeah.
As you mentioned that multimedia help us to identify our true ego, that we are in the process and we are in the process of actively starting to
Okay. Okay. Sometimes we may become egoistic even while serving Krishna, even while practicing Bhakti Yoga. So, how do you protect ourselves from that ego? Very good. Good question. See, a devotee can feel happy for getting an opportunity to serve Krishna or devotees. A devotee can feel enlivened with that opportunity. Devotee can feel grateful for that opportunity. You can feel happy by utilizing that opportunity and serving Krishna nicely. That's great, amazing. But let us not become proud of doing that service nicely. Why pride comes? When we disconnect our identity as servant of Krishna and connect more with an accomplisher, with the identity of being an accomplisher, as an achiever, as a go-getter, that creates a big problem. So you can serve the Lord, but please also understand that my ability to serve the Lord, my inspiration to serve the Lord came from the Lord only, came from the devotees of the Lord. For example, this Prabhu has made nice kheer, okay, and the kheer came out very well, very tasty, nectarian, and that kheer is served to all of you, all 20, 30, 50, whatever number of devotees are here, it's served to all of you. You think, Prabhu, you have made sweet rice like nectar, so they are praising you. So you can feel happy about it. You can feel encouraged that I could do this service and all the devotees are pleased, the Lord is pleased. But reflect on it. Are you the only contributor for the taste of that kheer? Just replace rice with some thermocol balls. Will you get the same taste? Replace milk with some phenyl. Will you get the same taste? Replace that cashew kismis that you put in it with something else, with this tissue paper. Okay, pieces of tissue paper. Will you get the same taste? There is an intrinsic taste in the ingredients also. If you just replace or change even one ingredient, you will not get the same taste. So the credit should not belong to you alone. The credit should belong to the ingredients also. Not just ingredients. You should give credit to the cows who gave milk. You should give credit to the farmers who grew the grains. You should give credit to Mother Earth, from which all the plants were born. And you should also give credit to all the trainers. Someone must have taught you how to make sweet rice, right? You cannot independently create a recipe. You have learned that from somebody. So that your trainer, your teacher, who taught you to make the halwa or sweet rice, they should also get some credit. And ultimately, the people who are eating also should get credit. If somebody has diabetes, you serve the best quality sweet rice to them, they cannot take it. How can they appreciate you? They are not even eating it. So they are in healthy condition where they can eat, so they also should get some credit. So if you keep on distributing the credit for the successful making of that sweet rice to 100 people, how much is left for you? Therefore, let's not become proud or egoistic for doing one service nicely. Let's humbly recognize the contributions of hundreds and thousands of people for that service to happen in this way. So then you can be relieved from that pride of being an accomplisher or achiever. You can take pride, but that pride should be a positive pride of being happy to get an opportunity to serve the Lord and the devotees and to get an opportunity to do that service effectively. But you should not feel proud and arrogant for accomplishing it, knowing very well that my accomplishment is dependent on so many other factors, so many people contributed for it. Make sense? So what's the sweet for today's dinner? Is it sweet halwa? Okay. Fine. May you happily eat halwa. So I'll conclude here. Sorry if I bored you, and if you find that this is too technical topic and very difficult to digest, don't blame me. Credit goes to Prabhu who chose this topic. Generally in such forums I take some very simple topics. In fact, I have summarized the 12th canto of Bhagavatam half of 12th canto of Bhagavatam. I took 3rd canto of Bhagavatam also here. I took little 5th canto of Bhagavatam also. It's like very a very evolved, deep topic that requires a lot of discussion, but we summarized in 1 hour. Anyways, thank you very much for your kind attention. Yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and everyone. We are very thankful of Garanga Darshan Prabhuji for visiting us and enlightening us with your knowledge and experiences. Your presence here has made this class special and memorable. Your insights on 4 types of pralaya have given us much to think and take away from this gathering. We all deeply appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge and experiences with us. Once again, thank you for joining us. Please give us all your blessing to follow your Krishna consciousness path and chant more. And it's just we all are very thankful for you to visit us.
Hari.
Once more, we all chant one more round and we sing
One round.
mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Before Prabhu leaves quickly, I would request all of you to rush as quick as possible at the front. Will take one photo. Thank you.
Before I forget, please take this. Otherwise.
TV.
Who's the photographer? When you say Hari Bol, just say Lord Hari Bol, okay? 1, 2, 3. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Sunday